Hi, I'm Allison. I'm going to be channeling the collective consciousness of humans today. I am very new to channeling. I'm sort of in my experimental stage where usually when I channel, it's different things. I don't really have anything that I've been very like consistently channeling on collective consciousness or my higher mind or a particular being. It kind of changes depending on the vibration of what I'm feeling in the moment. But lately, I've been feeling much more connected to the collective consciousness. I've been having a lot of dreams related to what's happening in the collective consciousness. And I feel like I have messages for because of that. And this is my first time doing any type of public channeling. And I'm just gonna see where it goes and if I like doing it or don't like doing it or how I want to maybe change this up. But I just feel like I don't know, I feel excited to share about it. So you're supposed to do what you're excited about, right? So let's just do it. So like I said, this is my first time, so, be kind. I am gonna be listening to just so you know kind of how I set up for something like this. Normally I'm not listening to something because someone's talking to me and I'm having to have a back and forth, but since y'all aren't talking to me, I'm gonna be actually listening to gamma frequency around 40 hertz. That helps me really tune in and focus. I'm also going to be cutting out as much like light as I can. So I'm going to be wearing this mindfold um, mask. And I also have my favorite crystal that I channel with is a rose quartz. It is an egg, and this is an amazing crystal. I cannot even describe to you the crazy stuff with this crystal. So that's where we're going. I also have another special thing that is basically attached to my heart chakra are very close to it that I am using as well. It is just something very personal to me. So let's just get into it. I'm going to go ahead and put my mask on. And I will say before I get started, and I don't know how long it'll take me to drop in, hopefully not very long once I start the music. But I will say that I have been feeling a huge, ever since like 5 minutes before I started this, I have been feeling a couple of themes already coming through for the collective. One in particular being rebirth. That's a huge theme right now. So I'm interested to see what's happening with that. So let me get this started. And this is, if you, I don't know, you can see that, but this is the thumbnail of the video. It says gamma 40 hertz. Anyway, if you're interested in it, I'll put the link down there so you can have access to that. It can be quite intense, so I would not suggest doing it for more than 30 minutes at a time. And you might have to build up to that depending on where you're at with listening to these types of frequencies. Okay, so I'm going to put this on and get started. All right, just going to take some breaths and drop in, and then we will begin. Setting an intention now. And I like to say my intention out loud because it gives it that much more power that I would like to channel the Human Consciousness Collective. I'm already feeling it coming in. Wow, it doesn't normally come in that way. I feel different tingles in various places in my body, depending on what is trying to come in and what the energy is around me. And I'm feeling my lower left leg for some reason. That might be a personal thing to me, though. I've been having issues with that area. All right. I actually am feeling quite a bit of frantic energy that I wasn't feeling before. I can't even hold my crystal still. I'm sort of spinning it around in my hands. So I'm not sure if this is going to I'll be moving around during this. Um, I do tend to move around when I'm channeling, but usually not the collective. So I'm usually a little bit more calm, but I'm really not feeling that calmness at the moment. It's not a bad feeling. Let me just take some deep breaths and see if I can sort of at least attempt to make it a little more smooth. Yeah, no, it's not what's necessary right now, and it's fine. I don't, that's not going to happen. So we're tapped into the collective at this moment. I talked about a theme being rebirth, and that is huge, and probably why I have been very attracted lately in my channeling to be using this particular crystal that is shaped like an egg. We all know what that means when it comes to rebirth. That is where humans are at right now. Oh, I'm going to talk through kind of what I'm feeling. It's just a little bit of a slowing now. I'm feeling some sort of pressure in my chest area. I want to say that has to do with this. It's this anticipation. There's a lot of anticipation in the collective, and there's a lot of mixed feelings about what that anticipation means. I think for a lot of people, they know that some bubble is about to burst, but they don't know what the bubble is, and so that's causing a lot of fear, a lot of apprehensiveness, but also at the same time, I think a lot of people want that bubble to burst so that that pressure will release. Ooh, that wanted to come out of my mouth really fast. It was that pressure will release. Yeah, that's definitely a term that I'm really feeling very compelled to use. The pressure to release is coming, and that tight feeling in the chests of a lot of people, that fear is going to become relief. And you're going to be able to breathe. Wow, there's a lot of emotions coming in right now. I'm going to let them pass through. Excuse me. I'm going to let them pass through because I don't want my voice to crack, but there's a lot of that trapped tightness, that pressure that is really boiling at the surface, and it is about to go over. You know, I've been getting a lot of, and this is even prior to today, I've been getting a lot of July the 14th. Today I'm filming this on the 10th, July the 10th, 2026. But the July the 14th may be a pivotal day. I don't know what that has to do with. I really don't have any type of inclination. The only things I'm getting is that number in my personal life, 714, is tied to abundance, but I'm not sure that that's what everybody's is. That makes sense for them. I think of 714 in the collective more with, it's kind of tied to religion a little bit in my mind, awakening and disclosure. So perhaps there will be something surrounding that. But again, I don't really know. I don't know why that's coming up for me a lot the past few days, 714. So it may be something more personal to me, or it may be more in the collective, or both. But I just wanted to mention that. I like to say everything that I'm getting, even if you find it relevant or not relevant, that's just how I work, whether I'm doing mediumship channeling or whatever the case is. Um, all right, let's see. Yeah, and it's one of those that it's like, you know, when you're like a kid and you know like a surprise is coming, but and so you're so excited about it. You're so excited about it, but at the same time, it's scary. Like, and you've waited for it and waited for it. That's what it feels like. It feels like this. You've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and it seems like something should have already pushed it over the edge by now. Like we should have already been in this new reality. And you have this awareness that it's coming, and you have this awareness that it's like right around the corner. But you also know there's no way something like that can be an overnight event. But you have this feeling that something big is coming. Again, I don't really know what that is. Um, but that's the feeling of the collective, is that people are at this. Think of like a bucket that is full of water, and just one more drop is actually going to just spill everything over. It'll be like too much. And at some point, that bucket is going to be dumped out, and it's going to actually be a relief for a lot of people and not. I think people think that, we'll just put it this way, when things, I don't want to use negative words, but in the collective, the word collapse is coming up. I think people are hearing that in the news, they're feeling that in their bodies. And we tend to, in the media, we have gotten accustomed to negative outcomes, and apocalyptic type outcomes. And I absolutely don't feel like that's what's coming, but that's what the collective is feeling might, which is what this frantic energy is that I'm tapping into. So it's a very fight or flight energy. It's it's unpleasant for me to feel it right now, but from my perspective, I know that on the other side of that, it's not an apocalyptic outcome. So I can handle it. But a lot of people right now are having a really tough time because they're feeling that internally, but also they're tapping into the collective because they can feel it all around them too, and they can see it all around them too. And I'm hearing quite literally right now that as a suggestion to people that are listening to this, that the more you stay off of the news and social media, the better, until you can get to a place where your franticness, I guess, or that pressure is more alleviated and you're able to tap into your calmness, your presence, and your neutrality a little bit more. That is something that is fueling the collective, is um, being too focused on the mass media and what they're saying, because we all know, and we need a reminder sometimes that that is not all of life. That is a sliver of what is happening in the world, and we need to remember that. All right. But yes, I do feel like the outcomes are definitely not going to be apocalyptic. It is going to be different. That level of difference is hard to speak about right now. I feel like it hasn't quite been decided in our collective what we are, say, hoping for, but ready for, I think, is it? I think people are attempting to get ready. I think people are, they know what they're ready for and they don't want to accept anything that is going to be too much of a change, if you will, because again, I think we've been conditioned to be afraid of change, that change will be detrimental to us in the short term and the long term. Um, yeah. So that's kind of what I'm getting right now. Very much there are a lot of people who are awakening to, there's something more. They're pissed. They're pissed off, and really, and this is happening all over the world, but I think, in the US, and some other, uh, let's say, allied and non-allied countries of the US are really at their wits' end. Um, and some people, it's kind of like, finally, finally, because a lot of people have been at their wits' end for several years now, definitely post 2020. But I think 2026 has been a tipping point year where a lot more people have finally sort of lowered their mask, or that's probably not the right way to say it, but have been more open to change and been more open to seeing what's been in front of them all along and redefining what they're seeing and what that means to them and how they want to morally uh, move around in the world, how they want to show up for themselves and others, and that their moral compasses are really being shaken. Whereas some people are really doubling down, and very staunch in their beliefs. So we do have that polarity. However, what I'm getting from the collective is there's less and less of that. and more of the former, where people are at least starting to have question marks in their mind about the nature of reality. What is life? What is existence? Why are we here? And they're noticing the chaos. They're noticing this stuff that seems so unbelievable in the media from our leaders, from I mean, and this also involves not just politics and wars, but it has a lot to do as well with AI, artificial intelligence. There is a lot of fear and a lot of a franticness around this race with AI and how people are incorporating it into their lives or are not incorporating it intentionally into their lives. Um, so there's so much going on right now that seems to be contributing to why people are feeling this franticness. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to tampen this down because I feel my energy is very intense right now. So I hope this audio isn't going to be too bad for me to edit. I'm hopefully not being too loud in the microphone and that I'm speaking clearly because it feels so frantic that it is difficult for me, at least being new to this, to um, let it like transmute it into something a little bit more calm for me to be able to translate to you all. So I'm hoping this is making sense and it's not sounding chaotic. Let me just breathe a little bit here. Just to take that edge off a little. And I feel as if I attempt to slow it down too much, I'm going to drop out of the connection. Okay. So I think that was the main thing that I am wanting to bring through. Let me ask. Let me ask if there's anything else that the collective wants to express that's important right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the now, the now is what's important. Mm-hmm. Right. So what's also feeding a lot of this frantic energy is worrying about the future and worrying about the short-term future. That's what a lot of people are worried about right now. They're not worried about 10 years from now, 20 years from now. They're worried about what's going to happen in the next few months or the next year. And that is terrifying for a lot of people because they feel something coming quick and they feel something coming big and they feel like they have no control and they don't know how to live. They don't know how to live their daily life. So one of the messages is now, now, now is what's important and not future. Nothing has changed about that. The now has always been the most important. Living in the present. When you live in the present and don't worry so much about the future, then you will actually draw in the future naturally that you are most resonant with. The more you stay in the present and enjoy what's around you. I'm sorry, this is very difficult to talk about just because the energy still seems to be quite frantic. But I'm trying to get this out, but I definitely feel a huge misalignment between my chest and my throat right now because I'm trying to speak in a very high vibe, positive way about suggestions to you, but this frantic energy is like they're like butting up against each other right now. So yeah, so again, the now, now, now um, is what's important. So being in nature, slowing down, like I said earlier, try to take a break from the news, mass media, and social media as much as you can, or at least attempt to train your algorithms to be of a more positive bent. That will definitely help you if you feel like you still need to be in the know. And just go about your daily life, do what you love. Hmm. That's always that's never not been a message in the collective. That's always been something that is the underpinning of why we're here, the underpinning of our agreement as a collective. Right now, there is definitely an overlying energy of chaoticness and franticness that is somewhat overriding this um, underpinned foundation of what we know it is to be human. So we're needing to sort of, I'm seeing like a shuffling through, a getting through the fog of this chaoticness and seeing that clear foundation again. So I would suggest that you vision this foundation if it's literally a concrete foundation like beneath a house, or if you envision it as the ground or a mountain or a loved one or the quote rock in your life, whatever that is or whoever that is, or a religious figure, then please tap into that and get back to the foundational. All right. Yes. Get back to the foundational um, uh, goal, if you will, for lack of a better term, of why the collective chose to be here at this time, which you are a part of. All right. Mm-hmm. Yes. And this is just me personally feeling now that just a moment that I don't want me to share my personal thoughts. Okay. Yeah. So there's more. Just a moment. Yeah. So I need to refocus again on the rebirth. The rebirth is think of it as a rebirth. And for all of the mothers out there, you know what it's like to have a child. Birth can be very painful. It can be very painful. For those of you who have not experienced having a birth, um, you still you know anyway, because you were all born at some point. You may not have a memory of that, but it is built into your energetic field. It is built into your body. You do have that memory. It just needs to come forth, of what it feels like to be born again and to be rebirthed. When I say born again, that is not in a religious sense. I know that is a term that can come up in Christianity. But this rebirth is, it's from wherever you're at in life. And it has to do with the rebirth also of the earth. We are birthing together with the earth. The collective consciousness is very enmeshed with the earth consciousness. Very, very enmeshed. Hmm. And we are all going through this birth together. I don't know if you've noticed, but there have been more climate things. Like we're going through a major heat wave where I'm at right now. There's been earthquakes unexpectedly recently in other areas of the world, and lots of other strange weather climate anomalies that have been ramping up, as you know, because of climate change over the last several years. And that's part of Earth's rebirth. Humanity has been going through very similar things with various wars, as well as things happening on the collective, as well as down to the individual level in a lot of people's lives. There has been a lot of chaos since 2020. A lot of people have gone through a lot of major relationship changes, health challenges, career challenges, abundance challenges. When I say abundance, I mean financial, and most people connect those two things together. Um, and so I think in the last 6 years, for most of the people on this planet in the collective, there has been the rebirth that has already started. The hard part, let me just put it this way, the hardest parts for a lot of people are over is not the word I'm at being asked to use. There may still be some difficult parts to come, but there is an assurance that you will get through it absolutely, because you have done things just as difficult or harder. Okay. So I'm not, mm-mm. No, there's no illusion that everything is going to be rainbows and unicorns. Okay. But that's not how life is. That's not how life has ever been. And that's not how life is going to be. But it will be significantly, significantly better in the coming years. We're still needing to get over a little bit of a hump, a little bit of there will be events and things that happen that affect the entire collective, as well as pockets of the collective in certain geographical areas that will be of significance, that will push things forward to the future that we all came here for. And that future will be passed down through the generations and just get better and better from here. And this world is going to look vastly different in 1,000 years from now. So let's say 10 to 12 generations down the road. And it's starting now. It's here. This is the rebirth, and we are sort of the one of the first major waves of generations, if you will, the people that are alive on Earth right now that will be participating in this emergence, this rebirth. And it's actually very, very exciting. And it's one of the reasons why we came here. Mhm. But it is an uncomfortable time right now. Yes, I know, I know, I know. It is uncomfortable. And so we have to become a little bit more comfortable with the uncomfortableness. hmm Yep. It's all about change, going with the flow, you knowing things are changed. Don't be so stubborn. If you feel like you're a stubborn person and you're just locked in, you're really locked in with your patterns, your beliefs, your behaviors, and you really have a difficult time with change, then find something that's going to break your pattern. This is actually, they're going to let me say this. This is a personal opinion and thought that I will suggest to you. So, one thing that I do in practice with sometimes when I am trying to break a pattern or call forth a new vibration in my life to play with or work around with or do energy work is I will go about my day or a part of my day doing something I've never done before. And they can be very mundane things, like, for example, brushing your teeth with your non dominant hand. That will absolutely do something in your brain and your energy field. Okay. It might be something like taking a different route to work that you've never taken before. Just again, do something totally random in the moment, something that you've maybe never done before, or something that you always do, but you're doing it in an entirely different way. Um, for example, I could give you lots of examples. So just again, think of those daily things you go through, like maybe drink your coffee a different way. Maybe have tea instead of coffee. Maybe um, you know, I don't know. If you don't let your dogs in the bed, let them in the bed. I can, you get the idea, but do something different that you would never ever have thought to do before. And that is one way to get you to release any stubbornness or something like that that you might have and will allow you to well, what it does actually is it gives the universe sort of permission. It's almost like you're giving the universe permission and like the information that you're okay with something being different and change and that you can adapt. Okay? Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right. I feel like the connection's closing. Okay. Wow. Yep, it's gone. Hmm. Yeah, and just so I want to tell you what I'm feeling. So I feel that the pressure on my chest is still there. My crystal is totally still, and I don't feel like I have to flip it around and move it around. And I'm feeling tingles from the top of my head through my shoulders that are going into my upper back, and that's kind of where they're staying right now. They're not quite moving all the way down as the connection has closed. Very good. I'm gonna need to walk around, I think, after this. You all right? Wow. Stop this music here. Now, if you work with the 40 hertz, the gamma, and I don't know how long I've been doing this more, maybe 20 minutes, and I wasn't listening to it at a very high volume, but if you do, you're not just going to want to stop it or take your headphones out. I like to step down the volume for a few seconds and then step it down again and then step it down again and then take my headphones out because you will have maybe some tinnitus or sort of ringing and things in your ears if you just go from listening to that straight tone for a while to not at all. It's kind of like ripping off a band-aid. It's painful. It can be painful. So I would suggest not doing that and doing a step down, turning it down lower and lower and lower and then eventually taking it out. But I wasn't listening to it at a high volume, so I just took my headphones out. Wow. Okay. I was not expecting the energy to be so intense, to be honest with you. I'm getting it's kind of stuck in my throat a little bit right here, so I'm probably gonna go outside and maybe drink some water and just kind of talk into the ether and get this out because I feel like there's some energy stuck in my throat and chest area. All right. That's it. That's me. I'm Allison, channeling the collective. Thank you for listening to my first channeling. Let me know what you think. Tell me if you're feeling all of this in the collective as well as if it has your intuition been telling you that this is does this resonate with you? Is this what you're also feeling? I'd be interested to know. Thank you.